You're listening to Stories to Create with your host, Cornell Bunting. Author, motivational speaker, and founder of ES Each Episode. Cornell sits down with inspiring voices to uncover the stories that shape who we are and who we're becoming. Get ready to listen, learn, and be inspired. The show starts now.
Yes. Welcome to another episode of Stories to Create podcast right here at ES Club. I'm your host, Cornell Bunting. I am so excited. You see me in the red. You see my wonderful guest in the red. She is so amazing, people. Listen, when you talk about the carnivals, when you talk about the big shows them that happen in Southwest Florida or even in Florida, South Florida, how we put it. But we're going to touch on a lot of that. But listen, I am talking to none other than the big bad King Leo Promotions owner right here in the building, Stacy Williams.
Thank you, Cornell. That's a great introduction. You gave me way too much credit for all types of things right there.
Listen, though, I got to tell you, because people have always asked me, like, dude, we've seen some carnival stuff, but we don't see a lot of it. And I'm like, we only have one person here that knows how to do that and do it right. You know
what? I'm very, very passionate about that, too. I have so many people that approach us about doing carnival or Caribbean shows in Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
And while we did them a very long time ago, and we moved most of the production international, we do shows in New York, Miami,
right.
Guyana, Jamaica, and everything.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about Southwest Florida, but I'm passionate about doing it right.
Yes.
So if we're going to bring something like a carnival or a junk canoe or any kind of Caribbean event, I think before someone just throw money at it and put on a show,
right.
They need to understand the history and the culture and do it with true meaning of what it is.
Yes.
We're hoping, we're in talks about possibly bringing a junk canoe. We're in talks about bringing carnival down here. We did it, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to bring it back on a full scale.
Yes.
But these are things that takes time.
Yes.
And, if we could get the support in the community and the resources and the sponsors and things like that. The city has always been gracious about, assisting us with bringing cultural events.
Yeah.
So it's something that could be in the works for the future, yes.
Listen, we gonna make it happen. So listen, guys, what we do on the show, so normally we treat the guests to a tale. So what we're gonna have you do for the guests today, take them back to the early years. Take them back to where you were born, where you grew up.
Okay. So I was born in Guyana, which is South America. It's the only English-speaking country in South America. So Guyana is part of CARICOM, and there's this big debate that goes on with the Caribbean and Guyana
right.
as to whether or not Guyana is really part of the Caribbean.
Right.
We are.
Yes.
Let's just go. Curry chicken and chicken curry, we're not going to have that debate.
Right. No, we can't.
We're going to say is Guyana makes the best curry.
Right.
I'll stand on that.
Right. No, I love that. And I think people get confused because it sits on the map of South America.
It is on the map of South America.
Yeah, and so people get like,
But born in Guyana, moved to New York when I was a teenager, went to school there, got married, had my kids, moved down to Southwest Florida right after September 11th, actually.
Okay.
And when I moved here to Southwest Florida, what I couldn't find was the cultural things to expose my children to. Right? Like I would see a couple of, dance hall things or whatnot, but it wasn't necessarily always kids friendly.
Right.
It wasn't necessarily always family friendly.
Right.
So there wasn't like the Caribbean Day and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned it to one of my friends and I'm like, there's nothing here that I can expose my children to our culture the way I could in New York.
Right.
And she, she's like, well, why don't you do something about it? Right. So we started King Leo Promotions and we produced a show called Rhythm Runway.
Okay. So, and because Rhythm Runway was which year?
Rhythm Runway started in 2008.
2008.
So it's almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And Rhythm Runway is my baby. I tell people I named it like I name my children, right?
Yeah.
I researched it. I made sure no one was using those two words together, that no one had that name being used. And rhythm R-I-D-D-I-M, is the Caribbean, the Jamaican way of saying rhythm, music, and then runaway for fashion. So we would produce a music and fashion show.
Right.
And we did that downtown Fort Myers a couple of years. We did it at the Sydney Burn a couple of years. We'd moved it to FGCU a couple of years. Yeah. And we would bring in the most talented Caribbean artists we could afford, and the most talented Caribbean designers we could afford. And we would put together an amazing show. In that time, we had produced shows with Kimani Marley, Mr. Vegas, Wayne Wonder, Kes the Band, Rupee. All these people came in and performed. Some of the great designers came out. Jewel Shannon, rest in peace. Just really Sheila for Fun, great Caribbean designers. Yes. And then one year we actually added a carnival where we had over 150 people in costumes, shut down the streets of downtown Fort Myers and produced a carnival. And Griff Gotti, rest in peace, Griff, he was one of the DJs on the truck. Yeah. So like the AJ comes out and play for us. So it's just a cohesive, just an amazing show. We have so many people that volunteer their time and their talents. We have a team, just my King Leo team and Cliffany Teal and Croy and, just all these people that come together and put on this amazing show. Yes. A couple of years ago, we kind of put it to rest a little bit, and we took the King Leo Promotions global. Okay. So it started to be head up in New York from a team up there, my sister, her husband, and her team. Okay. And we would do massive shows like rave, soca rave and things like that in New York City, in Miami, shows in Guyana. Right. We're starting to book out, people like Machel Montano and Bungie Garlin and, that spiraled into my sister and her husband acquiring Euphoria Mass Carnival Band out of Miami. Yeah. 1,600 people on the road on Carnival, So it's grown to a level that, I had only dreamed of at some point. So it's great to see. But yes, coming back local to bring the story back. Definitely working on doing some bigger Caribbean things here in the community. We've produced some more localized, smaller shows. We did Art Timber 2 years ago, where we did a series of like 5 shows in 5 weeks. Right. We had Under the Blue Moon with Blue Note, Jazz Picnic in the Park. We did a Picnic downtown where we had a pink picnic. Yeah. So there was some things that we still continue to do. Yes, and I like that concept. So you should do that again. Which ones? The one with the 5 and 5 weeks. Yeah. Do you know how hard it is to produce 5 shows in 5 weekends? Marketing, sponsorship, production, getting the sound crews, and it's quite a feat. I'm very, very proud of that. Yes. We were lucky enough to work with a collaboratory, actually, of local nonprofits and the River District Alliance and Alliance for the Arts and, so many, and, got the support of the city to put those together. That is amazing. We'd also produce a diversity festival for Fort Myers. Mayor Kevin Anderson was very instrumental in helping us make that happen. Beautiful. So it's just been really, really great to, I like show that our culture here. So for a lot of people that they see we have like 3 crazy stuff that goes on between different Caribbean islands: the dancehall stuff, the carnival stuff, and the festival stuff. Yeah. Which country would you say in the Caribbean island have the bigger shows or do the better job when it comes to the carnival? I don't think so. It's hard to say bigger or better, right? I'm not going to go there because ain't nobody coming from my head. No, but you know what? I enjoy all of the music, right? Yes, soca, for example, if we're going through a rigorous gym workout, soca music, you can't take anything away from that, right? Yeah. But I enjoy the dance hall music. But honestly, I enjoy the cultural music too. Like if you give me a Luciano any day. Oh yeah. So that's big. That's reggae and a whole nother. Music is all so good. Yes, it's the language of life. As far as I'm concerned. Yes, right. Yes. A rhythm could get you out of any mood or into any mood. Yeah. When it comes to carnival, there was always people. I was a huge fan of Sparrow. What can you say about Sparrow? Sparrow. Man, that's before my time. The Mighty Sparrow.
The Mighty Sparrow.
I mean, definitely was instrumental in putting Caribbean music,
yes.
soca calypso on the map.
Yep.
You can't take away from the legends.
No, you can't take away from the legends. That's...
people like the Mighty Sparrow and Bob Marley, they put the Caribbean on the map for music.
Huge. Would you say, like, when it comes to carnival and people on the road doing the dancing and all that stuff, what would you say to people that never really understood the concept of?
It's a cultural thing, so. Carnival, the whole concept, crop over, Mashramani, all of it, was the celebration after the crops and things like that.
Yes.
And this is when people were allowed to be as free as they want. This was the one time that they got to celebrate their life and celebrate their hard work. So, it says what happened in the carnival, stay in the carnival. What happened in the dance, stay in the dance. People come out and they're free. And tomorrow they go back to being professionals. So a lot of people looking at the culture and go, oh, it's a bunch of slackness. Or they talk about the risque costumes or whatnot. It's it's a vibe, and then people go back. To put it bluntly, you could be out here winding up on somebody right now, and then tomorrow you're back in your office and your boardrooms. It's a concept, and I've heard that here in Southwest Florida, where there's times when we've reached out to sponsorships, and they're like, "Oh, it's too risque." It's a cultural thing. Right.
Though, because we're moving into this time now where people feel more themselves, where they feel okay with, who they are, what they look like, all these different things. So I think a lot of that should be going away, wouldn't you say?
I would hope so. I mean, like, for example, you have people who says, oh, this person is too big to be in a costume, or that person is too, out of shape to be. Everybody is a carnival body, right? People just come out to have fun and be free and enjoy their life. Yeah.
I mean, we embrace big stuff. So, we love big. It's just, for me, born in Jamaica and all that stuff, that's a healthy woman right there. That's what I...
Well, listen, all of the healthy women, are you available? I don't even know. I don't know.
This is good.
Y'all want his number?
Pull up, ladies. This is good. Now, for a lot of Caribbeans that have moved to a country like America, for you, what was the transition like when you moved from Guyana and you came here?
So New York has an amazing, a pretty decent Caribbean community, right? And as you know, people move and live in silos.
Yes.
The Indo-Guyanese, community in New York is vast. I mean, it's very closed. A lot of people, support each other and help each other and whatnot. So it didn't feel like a lot. I mean, the difference in how you get to work and what you do, and those are the things. But you still had your community. You could still go get platt bread at the shop, or Salara, or you can go down to Liberty Avenue and buy all of the Guyana vegetables and goods and things like that. Moving to Southwest Florida,
that was a different
so I think it depends on where you move, how hard you would struggle.
Right.
I'm sure the Miami area, the Orlando area, you'll find more Caribbean pockets of people that will make life seem a little more like back home. But moving to a small town, I don't want to call Southwest Florida a small town, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would open your eye to the differences.
I love that. I love that. Now, because, you're a mom, you're a wife, you're all that, but you're a hardworking woman. And for a lot of women that see that and kind of want to have just a light little understanding of how you manage that in a way that for you still have peace and all that stuff, what would you say to them?
Gosh, I would tell you, if you're looking to do it, if you're looking to be that person that want to manage like a 32-year marriage yesterday.
32?
Yeah, we celebrated our 32nd anniversary yesterday.
Amazing.
2 amazing kids.
Yes.
I would say some of the core things you need to make sure, your partner, right? You have to have a partner that is consistent, that understands you, that you guys share mutual respect and the same common goals is what I tell people is the foundation of that.
Beautiful.
Community.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Family and friends and people that support you. So that when the hard times happen, we've been through hard times, right? Like we have in the 2009 market crash, we lost everything and had to start over. And this is a story I tell all the time. Having a community of people that can support you. You know, if I have to go get a second job and I need someone to help me watch my kids and, you know, just things like that. Yeah. So having a community and then, of course, networking. I think here in Southwest Florida, we were blessed to be able to network very well and be a part of the community. That comes with giving of yourself too, though. Like you can't just take, right? No. You have to give. You have to, But I tell people all the time, social capital is just as important as financial capital.
Oh, you hear that? You hear that?
Right?
Yes.
You who you know can get you into some doors that money can't buy.
This is true.
You know? So it's a collaborative things that keeps me, you know, moving and going. But also be a person that wants to serve.
Wow.
You know, when I'm looking out into the community, more than I'm looking for what opportunities are available to me, I'm looking for how I can help someone.
Yes.
So be that too. That's important.
That is very important. You know, sometimes people see like how diverse we try to be with a lot of the stuff that we do. But then you have individuals that wrestle with that because they said, well, I can't understand certain culture, so I don't even bother. What would you say to that?
Be open, right?
Yes.
We all come with our preconceived notions and our biases.
Yes.
As Caribbean people come with white Americans or Black Americans and vice versa.
Right.
But I think if you open and listen.
Yes.
I mean, coming from the Caribbean, I had to learn so much about American history, about Black American history, about all the things that happened, you know, in this country that we didn't physically feel, you know. So if you could be open and actually agree to change your mind. A lot of people like to say stuff like, that's just who I am. Right. Well, you can choose to change.
This is true.
You can choose to change. You know, I specifically hate when I hear my elders say, that's just who I am.
Yeah, no.
You know? And I tell people all the time, you can outgrow your elders.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
I mean, you will.
Yeah, because we sometimes we bypass them in the wisdom and the change and the knowing, where they're still stuck in their ways.
Right.
You know, so be open to change.
Yes.
Be okay with pivoting.
Yes.
You know.
Ooh, that is such a big word right there. Just being okay with pivoting.
You know, things are not always going to go your way no matter how much you plan. Right. I go back to the story about how when the market crashed, we lost everything. And I tell people all the time, you can do all the right things and still lose. We bought property, rental properties. We had a restaurant, the Lion's Den. You know, we did all this that we thought would secure us financial success, and we lost everything. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, but you have to be able to pivot and say, all right, well, you know, this is where we're starting back and go from there.
Wow. It's amazing. One of the things that people go crazy for is the food that's produced by just various Caribbean islands, people from different parts. What would you say is one of your food that's like a go-to food?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Every young person carries a story of hope, of struggle, of dreams waiting to rise. But in too many underserved communities, those stories go unheard.
At ease, Inc. Everyone has a story. We believe every voice deserves a chance. Through mentorship, empowering programs, and storytelling workshops, we help youth discover their purpose, strengthen their mindset, and build a future they can be proud of.
From classrooms in Jamaica to communities across Southwest Florida,
ES is changing lives,
one story at a time.
But we can't do it alone. Join us, become a mentor, volunteer, donate, help us fuel the next generation of leaders, creators, and change makers.
Visit ahasink.org today. Because when you help a young person share their story, you help them change their world.
Gosh, I mean, of course, everybody loves the curry and roti.
Yes.
You know, I mean, everywhere I go, people are always asking me, especially when we had the Lions Den, to make roti. I think I've made enough roti in my life that don't even want to make it again.
Right.
But, you know, obviously, that's an Indian twist on Caribbean food.
Yes.
And, you know, that's a big, big part of our culture and what Guyana specifically and Trinidad and other countries produce.
Right.
You know, I'm not a big fan of goat, but I know goat.
Yeah.
Goat is a big, you know, goat curry is a big thing. Oxtails, you know. And it's so funny to watch all these things that used to be like the cheaper meats and stuff like that become the thing that everybody's raving about. The other day I saw TikTok with oxtail pizza.
Come on. What? What? I haven't seen that one yet. Where
in New York.
In New York. Wow.
So yeah, I mean, you know, ground food is good food.
Yes.
You know, you get the yams and the bananas and the the sweet potatoes and things. You're good.
That is just something else right there. And you know, I gotta say, when Caribbean, it doesn't matter what state they go, they fit in and they make sure that place know a little bit about the culture.
Got to bring the flavor. We got to bring the rhythm. Got to bring the rhythm.
You got to bring the rhythm. Yeah. I love that. Now, you in the work world, like we, you know, take listeners back just a light little bit, like in the work world, then you decide to open King Leo. Well, which year was that when you opened?
2000. Gosh, it was about 2006, 2007. Okay. And the very, very first thing we did, my friend Kaini, and some of you may know Kaini. He has the song "Rain in the Shatters" movie.
Yes, "Rain in the Shatters."
He was coming down to do a show with Till Shiloh Promotions. Shout out to Till Shiloh. With Kimani Marley and some of them in the Orlando area. And he called me and he's like, hey, I'm going to be down in Florida. Maybe we could link up. He had just, you know, started to put his album out. And I'm like, well, maybe we'll do a listening party. So he came and I figured I'd do a listening party at the house or something like that, invite some friends. And Kai was coming into town. So then we decided we were going to create a flyer. And then I spoke to Vinny at the time. Vinny had this restaurant out here. And Vinny was like, well, you could use this space. You know, so then instead of saying Stacy promotes or Stacy produce, you know, it's so funny. So the hubby's name is Leo, as people know. And then one day at work, somebody took like the sign from the King Leo candy and put it on his desk. And that's where the name was born.
Wow.
So King Leo Promotions was born from that. And the first show with Kai at Vinny's. You know, and then we went into producing Rhythm Runway, and then we went into producing more shows. And again, like I said, when I, you know, kind of said, I might put this down for a minute, my sister and my brother-in-law in New York was like, we're not going to let that happen. So they took over the production of it and, I mean, took it to a whole different level so that I could take a break. Shouts out to them because King Leo Promotions definitely went global under their leadership.
I love that. I love that. Your husband, Leo, man, he's a very laid-back dude.
The man is phenomenal, right? Like I tell people all the time, and not because I'm married to him, but I have yet to meet a purer soul. I haven't met anyone in this world that says, oh, I have a beef with Leo.
Right.
You know?
That is true.
He's just,
very true, people. Very true. I mean.
But he needs to be. I mean, I'm the crazy one. We can't both be crazy, right? Like, can you imagine if my children had to be raised with two of me? Oh, no, they needed a daddy like that.
They need someone to calm them down after all the excitement. That is amazing. Right now, with what's going on with the culture dancehall kind of breaking over here into America, you know, and it's still a conversation where people talking about, you know, Vybz Kartel getting out and then, you know, putting his price so high and then now people are appreciating it more. What's your take on what that look like with dancehall getting more recognition?
Not just dancehall, but Caribbean music on a whole has been a significant part of the music industry. And for a very long time, you know, and still people don't get paid what others genres get paid. And, you know, and I think it's great if someone can make what they're worth, then absolutely in any area, people should be paid what they're worth. Right. So Vibes getting paid, everybody should be getting paid.
Everybody should be getting paid.
And listen, I'm a promoter. Them getting paid hurts my pocket. But I would love to have the money to always pay people what they're worth. Right. Not just musicians. Production people. You know, everybody. I feel like, you know, why are we nickel and diming people that are putting in the work?
Right.
You know?
That's a big question right there. I'm glad you said that too. One of the things I want to get you guys a little educated today too. So for a lot of people, they didn't know that Indians were in the Caribbean before any other people. Because, you know, when Columbus discovered like Jamaica, he tried to make it seem like they discovered Jamaica, but they didn't. It was Indians were already there. I think the Arawaks or whatever. A lot of people...
They didn't discover, they visited.
Right.
And they found us. That we existed.
Yes,
anyway. So yeah, I mean, there was, you know, native Indians to all of the islands and Guyana. You know, in Guyana we call them Amerindians, the people that are native to the land. Obviously, my ancestors was imported as indentured laborers from India, slaves from Africa, and probably some of the colonizers, because I'm mixed with all of that. So interestingly enough, my last name is Lee-Williams. My maiden name is Lee, because I have a history of, you know, my father's from China. So I mixed up with everything.
You fully mixed.
Absolutely.
Fully mixed.
Absolutely.
Amazing. And I got to tell you, because when I went to school, a lot of my friends were Indians that you know, I went to school with, and people never understood that, because they're like, I thought.
So you had the native Indians that already had lived there. You had indentured laborers that was imported. I hate to use that word, from India. Then you had slaves that came from Africa. You know, and then of course you had some Chinese. You had, you know, some Asians, and then, of course, the Irish and the Portuguese. And so you know, Guyana, Jamaica, the Caribbean is a conglomerate of people. There's no one people in the Caribbean. We are everything. I'm going to make this question hard for you a little bit. Maybe it won't be too hard. Marshall, Montana, Buju Banton. Which show you going? You can only pick one. God. Don't do that.
I'm sorry.
Ouch. It's going to have to be Buju. The old Buju. The Till Shiloh Buju. The Inner Heights Buju.
Yes.
Oh, God, no. Marshall, I love you. I promise I love you. I love you. I love you.
No, and I met Marshall, you know. I met Marshall in 98. He came to Jamaica with Shine and a few other, but he was with a band. He had a band at that time. It wasn't just him. Like, you know, he was in his early. He did the dance already, man. Big Fat Fish, that song. So
Marshall is an amazing. I mean, but Marshall's been in the business since he was a baby, right? The man has seen everything. You know. They say I'm too young to party. You know, I can't sing. I promise you, I love music. I love the industry. I can't sing. I can't play an instrument. I can't even stay on beat. I have no rhythm myself. Oh gosh, maybe that's why I love it so much.
But you understand it. You understand it. The people now that is trying to understand a lot of what that look like with the schools and getting some of the culture in the school. You see like people wrestling with understanding that a little bit, and it'll break out into the schools right now.
You mean like getting the Caribbean culture in the schools? As far as teaching it, I don't think they necessarily. Not having our children attend school with our culture. I think it's exposed more people. You know, I'm sure that, you know, having Caribbean people and Caribbean music and vibes and stuff. People in spaces like the our children and things like that has expanded other people's understanding of what the Caribbean is.
For like when you put on a show, because you have like artists that come with their crafts and stuff like that, and you give food vendors an opportunity as well. For someone that have never been to one of your shows, you know, kind of walk them a little bit on what kind of expectations they get to have when they get there.
So the bigger shows that are produced outside of Southwest Florida are mostly like warehouse size, 10,000 people, things like that.
Right.
The shows we did here, like Rhythm Runway, we would probably shut down a street or maybe, you know, a lawn on the FGCU or something like that, have the food trucks come in, and then we would produce a show where we try to get as many talented Caribbean artists as possible, both genres, and as many talented Caribbean designers as possible. And then what we do is we locally source and work with models and makeup and hair and things like that. Shout out to Indulgent Salon and a bunch of other people that work with us. And then we have a great team here, Cliffany Teal, Karoy Bate, and Stephanie Stevens that would like coach up the girls, the modeling, get pick the music for things like that, and work with the designers too. And then what we do is we'll do an artist and then a fashion show and then an artist and then a fashion show and then an artist all the way up to the headliner. Right. So people are getting some music, some fashion, some music, some fashion. Yeah. And then sometimes we'll showcase the carnival costumes. Right. And, sometimes we'll even have a parade. Yeah.
So recently, the Miss Jamaica, she had a light little incident there and
Jamaica couldn't catch a break that week. Between the hurricane and her, and then I think they had lost a game.
Right? Yeah. They lost.
It was hard. It was hard to watch.
It was like a beatdown. But a lot of people been saying like, what should when someone put on a show like this where the females are on the stage, they're not necessarily so much paying attention to where they're walking, but they're paying attention to the people that's out there. How could you speak on that?
From our shows, we definitely try to get rehearsals in. Okay. I mean, sometimes it's hard to know what the space looked like beforehand or get access to the space, but sometimes we replicate it. Okay. Like if we know the stage is going to look like a T, then we find a space where we can even if it's in a driveway, and we replicate that so people could know where the positions is and things like that. Right. I mean, but accidents happen. Yeah. Accidents happen anywhere. Yeah. Artists fell off stage. Right. Dancing and completely fell off stage. Right. It was an accident. It was an unfortunate accident, and I really hope she's doing well. Yeah. I feel really bad that happened to her. But you could put so many guards in place, and sometimes things. One of the biggest being a promoter of shows, anxiety around it is just praying that nothing major goes wrong. Stuff is going to happen that you have to learn to pivot, but you sit there and you go, please don't, like for example, if it's an outdoor event, please don't let the rain come down, please don't let a fight start. Please, you put things in place, security, you put all these things in place, but you're still there like, oh my gosh, like let this just happen. Right.
So, man, this is I like that, you take the precautions and you do the necessary run-throughs. And I was trying to think if it was 3 years ago, but you did a show at the Amphitheater.
Oh, so that was a diversity festival.
The diversity festival. Mm-hmm. Is that something you're going to be bringing back, or?
I mean, I hope so. If the city would like it and, and would let us produce it, we would absolutely love to bring it. The Diversity Festival was special to me because we got to showcase every culture we possibly could have. There was Irish dancers and, there was a country music professional and, so we didn't just focus on African dancers and Asian talent. So we just tried to get talents from all over the world. And that was a spin-off and a tribute to my late friend, Williams. She was the diversity director at Hodges University. Okay. And Gail, I would say, is very, very instrumental in how I move in this community. She opened doors for me. She made sure I had seats at lots of tables.
That's beautiful.
And that was a way of paying tribute to her because the diversity festival that Hodges would put on back in the day was great. And it was her brainchild and her baby. Yeah. So that was a way of us paying tribute to her while we bring something unique and special to the community.
I love that. With all the energy you had, just with everything that you were doing, when you first got pregnant, how did you feel?
Gosh, I had my kids in New York. Very, very young. So I was 21 when I got pregnant with my daughter.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, man, I don't know about this, right? But my kids are beautiful. Like, I really can't complain. God has blessed me with an amazing husband, great children, really, really amazing siblings, and in-laws.
Yes.
Like I tell people, when you see me and my siblings together, you don't know who's married into the family and who is siblings, because we're so cohesive in how we take care of each other, right?
Yes.
Great friends. But yeah, I mean, I was probably thinking I wasn't ready, and I probably wasn't.
But you did good.
I hope so. I hope that when they look back on me being their parent, that it was, it wasn't all bad.
Yeah.
But like I tell my children, right? I said, this is what you do.
Yes.
The things about me as a parent that you don't like, don't do it with your children. The things that you love, use them.
There you go.
Right? Like we did the best we could.
Yes.
My parents did the best they could with their experiences in life.
Right.
We did the best we could with our experiences in life.
Yes.
Whatever you feel like we didn't do up to par or really hurt you or traumatize you or something that you feel like you as a parent never want to do, then don't.
Don't. Yeah.
And then the things that you really, really loved, do that.
Man.
So...
beautiful gems right there. Listen, you guys are welcome. For people that want to find you, want to, possibly book you to do a show for them and stuff like this.
I'm easy to find. You can reach out to any of our social media pages. There's King Leo Promotions. There's Rhythm Runway. My personal page, Stacy Lee-Williams. My telephone number, I think, is all over the internet. 239-462-4044 with all of these. And I'm usually open. I text and respond to almost anyone that asks any questions, especially if it's pertaining to the Caribbean culture and shows and things like that. I try to connect people with, anyone that I have available to me. Yeah, I'm pretty accessible.
I love that.
Or call Cornell.
Yeah.
He knows how to get in contact.
There you go. I know how to find her. For introverts that don't know if they want to break out into something that they're really passionate about, what would you say to them?
Gosh, face your fear and do it. Do it. Be like Nike.
Ooh, there you go. Just do it. I like that. I like how Nike cut your stray right there.
I feel like when I look back on my life, and I feel most people, the things that was hard that you did anyway, you get okay with it, even if you embarrassed yourself, even if you hurt, even if something catastrophic happened, right? You did it, you attempted it, and the things that you didn't do, you always regret.
Right. So. You just said something though that a lot of people fear, embarrassing yourself.
Oh yeah, it's a big deal. No, listen, there's never a time that I'm producing a show that I'm not thinking, what if something here massive happens that we crash and burn? Like, how would I face the world?
Right.
But I do it anyway.
Yeah. So it's okay, guys. It's okay.
Yeah. The news is so fickle.
Yeah.
They'll have another headline in 10 hours. Don't worry.
No. You guys heard it. You guys are welcome. Stacy, thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. This is great.
Yes, this was amazing. Listen, until our next episode, we'll have another decorative guest right here at Yas Club.
Bye, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in and downloading this episode of Stories to Create. We appreciate you being part of this growing community of storytellers and listeners. If today's conversation inspired you, please share the show with friends, family, or anyone who could use a little motivation in their journey. A special thank you to our sponsors, EHAS Organization, Cornell Bunting LLC, and Nostril Cheese Chase for supporting the mission and making this podcast possible. To learn more about our work, upcoming projects, and how you can get involved, be sure to visit www.hissinggorge and www.cornellbunting.com. Until next time, keep creating, keep growing, and remember, your story has power.